Okay, so now we have done location, entity, and arrival. Next is processing. So processing has two parts. So there is one table here, and then there is one table here. Okay, and this table is the process table, and this is the routing table. So now in our the example that we've been discussing, we have a customer arriving at entrance. Um, so if you click entity, okay, so you have customers, and the location is entrance, right? Okay. Now you can specify an operation logic here, and if it is just simple logic like you at the entrance, um, the person does something like put the ID or whatever, so it takes like a few seconds or a few minutes or something, then you can do that. So you say wait, say normal distribution is n with a um, mean of say 1 and standard deviation of say zero point 0.2. Okay, minutes. So MIN. Oh, of course, since it is minutes is the default, so you don't have to say minutes. But it's a good idea to type the time unit because of readability, so you'll know that this is minutes. Okay, so that's the process that's going to happen here for this entity coming in. So for every entrance, customers keep coming, right? So first customer, second customer, third customer, so on. So each and every one of them would perform this operation. And then once that is completed, then you have to specify where it should go. Suppose if that's all the customer is going to do and that's it, then the customer is gone, then you can say, okay, so which of them? Sometimes there will be more than one entity in the location, so you'll have that. So now you can say for all of them, then you can select all. So a customer and the destination, okay, so you have a default destination, which is exit. So you can say exit. So customer comes in, waits for that amount of time, and then exits. So that's it. So exit is a standard um, location. Okay. So once you route an entity to exit, the entity is gone from the system. Okay. Because we are defined only one location, so there is nothing here. So if there is another location, say after the entrance that the customer is supposed to go somewhere, then you would select that. Okay. Um, so let's do that. So let's put another location. All right. So let's say that. Okay. So let it be locked. That's the default. So let's not worry about that for now. So after the entrance, the destination is locked too. Right. Now you can specify what rule to follow. First one is the default. So that means you just go there. That's first one. But you can specify lots of different logic here. Okay. So you can have probability. Suppose if there are two possible locations that the customer or the entity can go to with some probability. So 60% will go to log 2, 70, the balance will go to log 3, okay, for example. So let me go ahead and put another location here. Okay, so that is what, oh, well, I'll change that to log 3. Okay, so in processing, then log 2, so we have probability of say 0.6. All right, and then I double click here, and then you say log 3, probability is 0.4. Okay, and now you see it says block 1, right? So, and there is nothing here. So that means the block 1 covers both of them. If you need a new block, then you have to start a new block, and that will start a new block. Okay, so which means, but usually if you have just one entity coming in, there will only be one block. Okay, so this is one way you can route. Okay, and another, remember the first available is the default, and then you can have if you have several locations and you want to choose by turn or most of it, but there are lots of different options available to you. And if the entrance is going to spawn new entities, like for example, if this is an order coming in, and then once the order comes in, then you have like material requisitions, tools, and if there are 3 or 4 requisitions that it spawns, and each of them is an entity, then you can create new entity and then say, okay, I'm going to create, the new entity should exist, already have been defined. And then you say, okay, this entity, once it's finished here and the routing is going to spawn another entity to start, get the ball rolling for that other entity. So there are several possible rules, and we won't have time to go over all of it, but we will look at some of them. And of course, as I said earlier, first available is the usual one. So now and probability is something that we will also use quite often. Okay, and if that routing involves moving stuff from one place to another, and if that takes time, then you can have move logic, like you can spend certain amount of time. Or if that move logic involves taking a resource like forklift or something, then you can say, all right, so grab a forklift and then go certain distance or certain time. All of that can be entered in the move logic. So that's your processing. So you have an entity and a location, and where some process takes place, and at the end of the process, routing must be provided, and the final routing would be to exit. So here, if you have a location like here, we have log 2 and log 3, right? We are customer is coming into entrance, and once that is done, we are routing them to log 2 and log 3. You can't leave them hanging there. So you have to define log 2. So now you have to come here and say, all right, the customer has now come to log 2, and then what is the customer going to do at log 2? So wait some whatever, and then you can have fixed amount of time too. So you don't have to be probability distribution. If you say spend exactly 2 minutes, and then you send them out. Okay, so exit. Okay, all right. Now we still have the log 3 customers hanging in. Okay? So if you stop here and run the simulation, it's going to give you an error, because the customers who go to log 3, they don't know what to do there, because we have not defined it. So go and do customer and log 3, and then you do wait whatever time. So exponential 3 minutes, and then exit. So customer exit. So there should be a way for all entities that come in to be able to exit the system. Okay, so then is ready, for this small example. Then we can go and do the simulation. So you can click simulation options here and then simulate. Okay, but we didn't really set up an example here. We only looked at how to set up these 4 different things. So let's take a simple example and set it up from start to finish in the next video.